Hey guys, welcome back to the cookie jar. Today we are doing the 5th cake recipe. It is Lady Hermione's Hannah's Chocolate Sunshine Cake. And then at the end of the recipe, it's got a little extra for a chocolate glaze. It's going to be this page as well as this page. Now, the first thing with this is you're preheating your oven to 325. And you're going to need 4 1-ounce squares unsweetened baking chocolate, 1 cup frozen orange juice concentrate melted and at room temperature, half a cup soft butter, 1 stick, 1/4 pound, 2.5 cups white sugar granulated, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of orange extract or half a teaspoon of vanilla, 2 eggs, 2 cups flour, no need to sift, half a cup of milk, 1 cup chopped pecans or walnuts. You're putting this in a bundt pan and it says to spray it and then dust it with flour or cocoa. I've never actually heard of them using cocoa as a replacement for the flour, so I think that's kind of interesting. It also has you mixing everything, dumping it in the bundt pan, 60 to 70 minutes in the oven, let it cool, and then you can either, it says if you don't feel like making the glaze, just dust the cool cake with confectioner's sugar. For the chocolate glaze, you're going to want 1 cup of chocolate chips, 1/3 cup of cream, and a teaspoon of vanilla, and we're just going to pour that over the top and let it drain down. Everything is all laid out in the kitchen. Let's get in there and get started. Here is everything we're gonna need for the cake and the glaze. First, we need to do is to spray the bundt pan. And then we need to add a little bit of flour. And then just kind of shake that around. And then I like to turn it over and tap it into like the excess into the sink. Okay. So, moving on. Put the chocolate and orange juice. So we've got our cup of the orange juice concentrate, melted room temperature, and the 4 1-ounce unsweetened baking squares. Break them up a little bit more. Nope, they are not breaking anymore unless I cut them. Okay. So these are going to go into the microwave for a minute, and then we're going to stir it up and give it another minute. It does say you can do it in a double boiler, the mixing. It does say that making the cake batter is a lot easier with an electric mixer. It does point that out. Okay, so I'm thinking I should have chopped this up. It doesn't say to, but I'm thinking I should have because it doesn't seem very melted. It does go back in for a minute. Right now we just kind of stir it up until melted. So after it's stirred up, melted, it says to cool it off or let it cool. For the sake of trying to hurry things along, because it always takes a lot longer, I'm noticing in these recipes, for these little bits to cool than it does to blend everything else, and then I'm stuck sitting here waiting for 10 minutes while it finishes cooling off enough to use it. I'm going to pop it in the fridge while it cools while I do everything else, and hopefully that'll make it cool down faster. If I wasn't so afraid of over chilling it, I'd put it in the freezer, but with my luck I'd put it in the freezer and it'd come out half frozen. Or I'd break the glass or something, and we don't want that either. So I'm gonna pop this in the fridge and then we're gonna keep going. Okay, so like I said, it says the following steps are a lot easier in a electric mixer. So our 1 stick of butter with our 2.5 cups of sugar, and mix until fluffy. That usually takes a couple of minutes to get it actually done right. All right, so now we're adding in the 2 teaspoons of baking powder, as well as the half a teaspoon of salt, and the half a teaspoon of orange extract. I'm gonna let that go around for a minute. All right, next we're adding our eggs one at a time. That's 2 eggs. Now we're adding half the flour. All of the ½ cup of milk. And then the rest of the flour. Now I'm just going to do a quick scrape down and check on our chocolate mixture and see if it says cooled to the touch. Okay, so our mixture is finally cooled off. So now we're just going to mix it in. Actually, I think I'm just going to pour it in. And we're just going to hit the sides of the bowl again. And get everything that isn't incorporated yet. The last thing we're doing with this is we're going to stir in our cup of nuts, our chopped pecans. Okay. And then we're taking our pan and just pouring it in carefully. Here's what it looks like before it goes in the oven. Like I said, it's going to go in for 60 to 70 minutes. So here's what it looks like after sitting for 25 minutes, which is what it recommends. Now it's time to flip it out. It does say to loosen the edges with a sharp knife. So I hate sticking things into the pans. I really do. I always feel like I'm going to scratch them. Well, so much for one piece. I'm gonna end up with cake pops because this top part is not coming out. I was gonna just pop it over, but in order to do that, it would have had to have come out. This is disappointing. It did not come out easy. It did not come out smoothly. It came out quite a mess. But moving on, so for the chocolate glaze, we're basically microwave safe bowl for 1 quart glass measuring cup. You're gonna put everything into the measuring cup. That's the cup of chocolate chips, the teaspoon of vanilla, and the 1/3 of a cup of cream. And then combine it. She's just trying to get the chocolate chips coated in the cream, and then microwave on high for 1 minute. This technically, I don't know if it's the recipe fail or the pan. Maybe I should have let it sit longer. It didn't come out of the pan right, which may not, that could be the pan or not letting it sit long enough. Maybe you should just use the flour spray, no stick spray. I mean, as long as it tastes good. It's only half of it. Because half of it has to look good too. At the moment, it doesn't look all that great. Now it does say, if this is too thin to add more cream. If it's too thick, add more chocolate chips. Which is very, very thin. But all the chocolate chip pieces aren't mixed in yet, so I am actually, when I have trouble getting things to blend, I normally just grab the whisk. I don't sit there and keep trying to stir stuff. I mean, how thick is this supposed to be? Because I don't want to add more if it's supposed to be thin. I think I'm just going to pour it over and let it soak in. It's too thin, it's too thin. It'll soak into the bottom, I guess. It smells good. Very chocolate smelling. So if you ignore the fact that it's broken in half, here is what it looks like. It is not the most attractive. It's not. So here is a slice of the cake. Alright, so it's very chocolate, it's very orange. Tastes like one of those smash oranges at Christmas. Honestly, I think the orange is almost a little too much. It could have done without the orange extract. I did the tester where you stub the thing in it. If it comes out clean, your cake is done. I baked this for probably 65 minutes. It probably could have gone another 10. It's baked. I just think it could have baked longer. It's not the best thing I've made, and I'm very disappointed that it broke coming out of the pan. But I wouldn't make it again. I wouldn't even recommend it, to be honest. No, I'm very disappointed. But it's edible. It's okay. Anyway, next week we're going to be making the poppy seed cake. So, if you're interested in that, join us next week. I hope you have a good one. Bye, my lovelies.